All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the October 16th, 2024 CDBG office hours. Today we have our CDBG specialists, Shannon Burge, Michael Phillips, Jeannie Lee, Crystal, uh, Crystal White, and myself. Sorry, there's a lot of people. And then we have our program manager, Susan Holt, and our section chief, Mamie Early. Did I miss anyone? Okay. I'll apologize later if I did. Yeah, welcome. We'll go ahead and get started. A little housekeeping, how to ask a question. So you can use the Q&A chat bubble at the bottom of the Zoom to submit a question to the team. We'd prefer if you did that. And you may ask questions anonymously, but if you want your name, organization, or region associated with your question, you'll need to type it in your name box. And the team will read questions out loud throughout or at the end of the presentation. We should probably change that. And we'll provide answers if possible. And then all questions will be saved and recorded as part of the public record. What's new? So we recently released or asked grantees to complete the HUD 2516 MeeBee-Weebee form. CDBG and CDBG CV grantees are required to submit this report and complete a survey for each standard agreement active within the program year. This has been sent to you via a miscellaneous task in the eCivis portal. It is under each award's pending tasks, so you could find it there. It was sent this week, I believe, or last week. And then please complete the survey by November 1st, 2024. And as a note, there's been an update to CFR 200 effective October 1st. Changes include capturing information on veterans business enterprises. So please amend your programs to capture this data point. So likely next year we'll be asking to report on MeeBee, Weebee, and VB or veterans business enterprises. And did you know a jurisdiction's housing element must be submitted to HCD and in at least draft status at the time of application submission to be considered as an eligible applicant? And our reminders, we have required recorded live and pre-recorded webinars that can be found on our CDBG workshops and trainings playlist on YouTube. The application opens soon on Tuesday, October 29th at 9 a.m. And we also have our consolidated plan survey. So every 5 years, we do the consolidated plan that describes how we'll be using funding in the next 5 years. So we are doing public participation for that. So communities and residents, we have a survey for them, and then grantees and other stakeholders, we have a survey for you as well. And my lovely coworkers will be putting that in the chat. Application support. So if you selected the wrong national objective during your application, you can select the reset option for the matrix code question and then reselect the correct matrix code. That will reset everything. Additionally, .png files are glitching in eCivis, so there will be upload issues if you try to upload PNG files, so do not upload those. And further clarification about authorized signers. So the application representative or the person identified in section 4 will be signing all application-related documents like NEPA, statement of assurances, contract representative in section 5. That will be all contractual documents like the standard agreement, any amendments, and reuse agreement. And then the reporting representative in section 6 will do all reports after the award, such as financial activity report and the closeout package. For our next office hours on October 30th, 2024, the Equity and Belonging Toolkit training will take place. So on October 28th, that will be available on our website, and it will be added as an appendix to our GMM. And on October 30th, Equity First Consulting will be providing an orientation on the toolkit during our office hours. The Equity Belonging Toolkit covers topics such as meaningful public participation, workforce relations, program design, and accountability systems. And we do encourage all grantees to attend. Please have any staff you would like to attend register for office hours as well. Wait, I lost my place. One moment. All right, now we'll go over questions and answers from last office hours. Can multiple city employees log into the eCivis portal at the same time and work on multiple applications and sub-applications concurrently? Each sub-application may be completed by different users. However, each application can only be accessed by the same user who started the application, meaning that one application cannot be shared amongst multiple accounts or team members like how it's done in award management. For OTC construction projects, when completing the NEPA, is the applicant the responsible entity? The jurisdiction completing the project had been the responsible entity in the past, but there were exceptions in the CDBG DR program, and we were not sure if the same exception applied to the 2024 CDBG projects. The responsible entity would be the jurisdiction. Exceptions that HCD has for CDBG DR do not apply to our regular annual CDBG program. Does the new financial reporting form need to be signed for a $0 draw? Yes, all financial reports must be signed by the authorized representative. This is due to the new 2 CFR 200 updates that require certification language. Is there a new list of representatives for areas? We do not have a list of current representatives by area. We are in the process of staffing changes. Please email our CDBG team inbox for help at cdbg@hcd.ca.gov if you do not have an assigned program rep or specialist. What is this newsletter that keeps being mentioned? The CDBG newsletter is a resource that is published after the conclusion of each office hours and emailed to our CDBG contact list. After remediation, a copy is also posted to our CDBG website. It includes program updates along with additional resources. Who is required to sign the NEPA documents for a business assistance program? Is it the authorized signer or can someone else sign this document? A NEPA submitted application must be signed by the authorized signatory designated in Section 4 of the resolution. If another jurisdiction employee must sign the document, please upload a formal letter on jurisdiction letterhead to the department CDBG, to our department or CDBG team, designating the other position that's allowed. Is CDBG planning any in-person training? For new users of this program, the videos are not helpful. The program really lacks help for people who are green and doesn't have a background in this program. CDBG is currently in discussion to provide extra training next year. However, we do not have any plans for in-person training now. Please email our CDBG team at cdbg@hcd.ca if you do not have an assigned program rep or specialist. Additionally, we do have our CDBG Grants Management Manual posted to our website, written in a format for new users' perspective. The HUD Exchange is also another useful resource. That's hudexchange.info. Is there a date that we can safely assume HCD will not update NOFA forms we are using for the application? Edits are required when it is necessary, especially with the new 2 CFR 200 updates. For the 2024 NOFA, we don't anticipate any changes before October 29th, 2024. Can we submit an OTC application on 9/29, then wait and submit the sub-applications, or will that cause our OTC application to be pushed back to the back of the line? To submit a complete application, you will need to submit one main application and one sub-application for the OTC project or program. Every subsequent sub-application submission has its own respective submission date. And we should note that 9/29, the application was not open. I think that Asker was referring to 10/29. For public hearings, what constitutes a public hearing? Please refer to our Grants Management Manual, Chapter 4, for additional grantee requirements. My financial reports are being rejected because they need to meet new thresholds. What are these new thresholds? Where can I find them? Please email your assigned program rep or specialist with additional details. For a housing assistance program, when the application asks for site control documentation, are you looking for site control documentation for the location the activity will be administered, City Hall? If not, please explain what it is you are looking for this item on a financial assistance program. The application has a not applicable option. Applicants will select this option for planning only or OTC program applications. What is the CDBG CV23 amendments timeline for HCD to process them? 6 weeks is the minimum timeline. However, for CV, you should be receiving them within 2 weeks. ICF grant administrators will be following up via email when the amendments are out for signature. If a one-day report is required, is it based on check issue date or invoice date or expenses reported to eCivis date? If a one-day report is required, please go by the check issue date. Question: provide a narrative on how this program will be marketed, programs only, upload any flyers or documentation. But this is listed under construction, and it is the only question listed under this section. Please open your sub-application questions, 2024 sub-application sample questions to read this question. Oh, sorry, that was not supposed to be there, last sentence. So this question was put under the wrong heading. This question is for housing and economic development programs only. In the sub-application under activity design that requests the address for ED and housing rehab programs, is that the jurisdiction headquarters, as there will be various locations that are assisted. Please list location of where the program will be administered from. Have there been any updates to NOFA forms in the last 2 weeks? No, the NOFA forms have not been updated within the last 2 weeks. So for ED and housing rehab programs, if a subrecipient is implementing the program, should it be the subrecipient's address? Yes, it should be the subrecipient's address. Since a financial report form is required for each quarterly report, should invoiced expenditures be included even if they haven't been paid during that quarter? CDBG is a reimbursement-based program, and expenditures that have been reimbursed by the jurisdiction should be uploaded with your request along with invoices. I missed the reimbursement question. Has HCD reimbursement changed from invoice to payment? CDBG is a reimbursement-based program, and expenditures that have been reimbursed by the jurisdiction should be uploaded with your request along with invoices quarterly. CDBG is going by the reimbursement date listed on the payment that has been issued. Submitting proof of payment documentation after invoice payments have been made allows avoidance of duplications. CDBG does encourage more frequent reporting. Follow-up. On quarterly reports, invoices that have not been paid do not need to be included on quarterly reports. Correct. Do not include invoices for items that have not been paid. Question. I also believe per 2 CFR 200, advances are allowed. 2 CFR 200 applies to all federal grant fundings that are administered by the federal government. However, not all programs allow advances. CDBG does not allow advances. Many invoices may not be paid during the same month they are incurred. Please email your assigned program rep or specialist with any concerns your jurisdiction may encounter. To confirm, can applications for the 2024 NOFA be submitted at different times? For example, could one OTC with one main and one sub application be submitted in November? Then one sub application for competitive grant be separately submitted in December? Thank you. That is correct. You can submit at different times with different timestamps. Does CDBG allow projects to be considered reno and not new build if the developer leaves a portion of the old units in place, like USDA allows? So CDBG allows reconstruction, that is considered technically considered new construction, but the entire project must be reconstruction. So no CDBG funds can be used for new build or new units. What would HCD like for staff salary proof of payment? CDBG will accept general ledger as proof of payment or payment statements. If you are unsure if it will be allowed, please email your assigned program rep or specialist. So you don't need checks. General ledger is good as proof of payment of invoices as well. CDBG does allow proof of payment in the form of a check, copy, or general ledger. During check-in meetings held with the jurisdiction in CDBG, you can confirm your proof of payment is an acceptable source of documentation to supply. We're almost done. Oh, we are done. Okay, so now we'll accept or read the questions in our Q&A and begin answering those. Amy Augustine asks, does the jurisdiction decide whether to make funds available as grants versus loans? Question pertains to micro enterprise funding request. Jeannie would like to answer that.
Excuse me. Hi, Amy. Thank you for your question. Yes, it's up to the jurisdiction whether they want to provide funds as grants or loans. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeannie. Our jurisdiction faces public safety power shutoffs from PG&E. If one occurs on 10/29, will there be any way to reflect the inability of locations under a PSPS to submit applications? Susan.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for your question, Amy. That's a good one. I too am in a PSPS shutoff arena. Um, Unfortunately, it would be really difficult to uh, for us to timestamp that because they can go on for days, and these are all if it's an OTC that you're talking about, an over the counter that's a first come first served, that could present a problem. What we generally do around here is use our um, company phone hotspot. Usually, you can set it up so that your hotspot will give you computer access. You can just link it on there. If you need help with that, you can send a message to our unit inbox and we can try to kind of walk you through it. That is what I would recommend that you do, is use a hotspot in that circumstance. You can, of course, and for anyone who has technical difficulties, you can always send us some screenshots of technical difficulties you're having, but not having internet, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot we can do about that. So I would recommend the hotspot. Again, if you want further clarification or a walkthrough on how to do that, we're happy to help. Just send us an email to the unit inbox. So hopefully that helps you. Thank you so much for the question.
Thanks, Susan. Paul Ashby asks, for 2023 A awards, we are ready to go to bid. However, we recently got an email stating our standard agreement is under an embargo and we can't announce anything. So are we not supposed to go to bid? Can someone elaborate on this? Susan.
Sure. Thanks, Paul. Good question. So with the embargo, it's our understanding that we're just asking you not to publicly announce your award until the governor lifts the embargo. The embargo is on announcing the award. But we did want to make sure that you can go forward with your project if you have covered all the conditions and you've got your standard agreement ready and all your ducks are in a row. Otherwise, you can go ahead and move forward with going out to bid. It's just the publicly announcing that the jurisdiction received the award. That's the part that the embargo covers. So hopefully that's helpful.
Thanks, Susan. Tyler Somerset asks, are there communities who have offered homebuyer assistance loans with CDBG funds in the past who have guidelines for considering hardships experienced by grantees that allow for revising the loan interest percentage or forgive all portions of the interest accrued? Hi, Tyler. That is a good question. So I know we do have some people in the office hours today that have very successful homebuyership programs. So For all of you, if you'd like to reach out to Tyler, that'd be fantastic. Um, but overall, considering to allow for those is a local decision. So it is a local decision if you want to consider hardships or if you want to revise loan interest based on certain conditions. And Jeannie has her hand up.
Tyler, if you want to put your email address in the chat for other jurisdictions to reach out to you, that would probably be the best way for anyone to contact you if they have any experience with that. Thanks, Tanner. Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks, Jeannie. That's a good point. Thanks. Yeah. So overall, it's a local decision for that. That's acceptable. William Firth asks, can you please confirm that the new financial report form to use is Appendix 6-3 on the CDBG page? Jeannie.
Hi, hi, William. Thank you for your question. Unfortunately, the new financial reporting form is not on the website yet. We did email it out with the last office hours newsletter. We are currently working with our IT department to get the updated form onto our website. Unfortunately, it is just a long process. We will make an announcement once it is up on our website. We have gone into a new routine of adding new or updated next to the form or document to tell you when it was last updated or uploaded. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. Shannon Flum asks, my county's invoice, okay, my county's invoice submitted on these dates was rejected with a note that it requires updated project threshold docs before it will be processed. We're unclear on what updated information needs to be provided and would like guidance on what to do next. This is invoice dispute SV 209 in reference to the County of Glen Housing Hub. We've also reached out to CDBG email with no response. Thank you, Shannon. And our own Shannon Burge would like to answer that.
Hi, Shannon. So I actually was able to kind of look this up. This is one of those CV23 contracts for the County of Glen. So I would reach out either to your grant administrator for your CV. And if you don't know who your grant administrator is, I'm going to type in the email address for the CDBG CV email box so you can email them to figure out kind of what's going on. But I am under the impression, because we did go through previous office hour slides, a question like that came up in our last office hours. So they're basically going through and getting the threshold documentation that we need for the award files. And we kind of have to have that stuff in there. It's just, program requirements. But hopefully that helps answer your question.
Thank you, Shannon. This question from Jennifer Warren. We're having an issue trying to set up an eCivis account. When we enter the email account and eCivis prompts us to send the confirmation email, we never received the confirmation email. This email account is a group email account. Could that be an issue? We want everyone to have access and receive notifications and updates and to be able to enter or upload reports for their projects. That is why we're using a group email account. Jeannie.
Thanks for your question, Jennifer. So using a group email address should not be the issue. I would first check that you guys are creating an eCivis portal account rather than the eCivis grants management account. Next, if that's check your spam folder, sorry. See if it accidentally went into spam. I'm glad it's great that you guys are using a group email address. We recommend that, especially since people can retire or are absent or things like that. And so having a group email address tied to eCivis is great. Just so you know, there is also this team feature in eCivis. Once a grant is awarded, you can add team members who should be able to create their own eCivis account and get notifications for specific grants. If you would like more information on that, you can reach out to your CDBG rep. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. Stephanie Nelson asks, sorry to move over to the Q&A. My previous question was in the chat. The link to the survey was sent. I already used a paper survey that each household is filling out and submitting to me to analyze to see if our HOA community is low to moderate. Does this work? We have 166 homes within our community. The funds requested will only benefit those within our community. So this would be the correct way to collect the income data, right? Jeannie, go ahead.
Hi, thanks, Stephanie, for your question. I did also read the additional details you put into the Q&A, and it seems like you are applying on behalf of Riverside County. We did take a look, and Riverside County is an entitlement program, so you will need to discuss with Riverside County how to handle this project. Thank you.
And just to elaborate, if entitlement community receives funds directly from HUD, so our grantees and eligible applicants are non-entitlement communities that don't have a direct relationship with HUD, or their county doesn't have a direct relationship with HUD.
Thank you, Tanner.
Yeah. Under management capacity section, if our organization has never used federal funding or CDBG funding, can we use another example of how our organization has managed large projects? Um,
I can
let's see.
take this one,
Go
Tanner.
ahead, Jeannie.
So if no one on staff has used federal funding, there are, I believe, the economic development program specifically requires that whoever is going to manage has at least, I believe, 3 years of experience, if I'm not mistaken. I would recommend if you do have issues or concerns about capacity, management capacity, to email the unit inbox with more specifics. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeannie. Rooted Course asks, are California Native American tribes who are not federally recognized eligible as applicants? Are there opportunities for technical advisory assistance beyond office hours? Jeannie?
Thank you for your question. So non-federally recognized tribes are eligible to receive CDBG funds. They do not apply directly. They work with the local jurisdiction. If you would like additional technical assistance or more specific assistance, please email the unit inbox at cdbg@hcd.ca.gov, and we'd be more than happy to assist you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. Brandy Caparasso asks, following up on Paul's email, is the embargo affecting the processing of the standard agreements for 2023A? Susan.
Sure. Thank you, Brandy. That's a very good question. I can tell you that the embargo is not affecting or delaying in any way the processing of the standard agreements. There may be other reasons for delays, which you should be having communication from a representative with. But as far as the embargo, the only difference with the standard agreement processing is that we're not releasing the award letters out to jurisdictions with that official, hey, you got the award. But short of that, it's not holding up the standard agreement processing at all. So hopefully that's helpful, and we hope to get those wrapped up very soon. So thanks, Brandy.
Thank you, Susan. Brandy asks, I came in late. Was the question answered about if there can be multiple logins or multiple jurisdiction emails in order for multiple people to work on an application? So we did have a slide, which I just pulled up. So in short, only one account can be connected to an application. You can have multiple staff or jurisdiction emails connected to the different application. So one staff member can work on a different another application different from another staff member, but two accounts cannot be connected to the same application. Thank you. All right, that was all the questions in Q&A. I'm just going to give it a moment for any more to come through. William Firth asks, is there a link for this embargo on standard agreement announcements? I do not believe there's a link. Susan.
Yeah, there's no link that I'm aware of. Is there a link for the embargo on standard agreement announcements? No, we don't have a link for the embargo. That is done through the governor's office. So I would recommend going to the governor's webpage and or maybe contacting the governor's office, and they should be able to give you more information on that. Unfortunately, we don't have any here. We just have the directive. So sorry about that, William. Hopefully that helps you.
Thank you, Susan. Brandy asks, so for sub-applications for the same program, there can be 2 logins or is connected to the main application, or is it connected to the main application? Jeannie?
Hi, Brandy. So 2 accounts cannot be connected to the same sub-application. You can have um, a login for different logins for each sub-application, but you cannot have 2 connected to one sub-application or main application for that matter.
And for clarity, Jeannie, I don't think it matters who's connected to which account is connected to the main application. You can have a different one for the sub-application.
Correct. Thank you, Tanner.
All right. Brandy says thank you. Thank you, Brandy. I'll give it a couple more moments for any more questions to come through. Okay, if that's all, we can wrap it up today. Thank you everyone for coming to office hours. Appreciate your time and I hope you have a great couple of weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.